I want to talk about something nobody likes to talk about. The waiting. Not the waiting that ends next week. Not the waiting where you can see the finish line. The waiting where you don't know how long it's going to be. Where you can't tell if anything is moving. Where you've prayed the same prayer so many times it's starting to feel like an echo. That kind of waiting. I've been in it more than once. For longer than I'd have chosen. And I want to tell you something about it that I wish somebody had told me a long time ago. The waiting isn't empty. It's doing something in you that the answer never could. When I was younger, I thought waiting was the gap between where I was and where I was supposed to be. Just dead time, wasted space. The part you push through to get to the part that matters. I thought that for a long time. And then I started looking back. The way you can only look back from 77 years, and I saw something I couldn't have seen from the inside. Every season I spent waiting was building something. Not the thing I was waiting for, something else. Something underneath. Something that had to be there before the thing I was waiting for could actually land without destroying me or slipping through my hands. I waited 3 years before I accepted the call to pastor a church. Argued with God about it the whole time. Felt like those 3 years were frustrating and slow and pointless. They weren't. I can see that now. I spent 40 years trying different businesses, 8, maybe 10 attempts, none of them working. Felt like failure stacking on failure. It wasn't. I can see that now, too. I sat in a recliner after retirement wondering if my useful years were behind me. Felt like I'd been shelved. And then at 77, something started that I could never have made ready for 20 years earlier. The waiting wasn't wasted, it was working. I want to give you a different way to think about the waiting season, because the way most of us think about it is making it harder than it has to be. Most of us treat the waiting season like a problem to be solved. We ask, what do I need to do to get out of this? What am I missing? What am I doing wrong? Why is it taking so long? And those aren't bad questions, but they're all pointed in the wrong direction. They're all asking about the exit. None of them are asking about what's happening while you're in it. Here's a different question. What is this season building in me that I'm going to need on the other side of it? I keep bees, have for 15 years, and bees taught me something about this. When a hive is preparing to produce honey, really produce, the kind that fills a frame, there's a whole season of work you can't see from the outside. The bees are capping cells, building comb, regulating temperature, raising new bees. None of it looks like honey. None of it feels like progress if you're just waiting for and watching for the harvest, but every bit of it's necessary. You can't rush a hive. I've tried. It doesn't work. The hive runs on its own calendar and it doesn't negotiate. Waiting seasons are like that. God is doing something in the structure, in the foundations, that has to be finished before the harvest can happen. And that work is invisible from where you're standing. Not because it isn't happening, because you're too close to see it. Now, let me be honest with you. I know that doesn't make the waiting feel shorter. I know that doesn't make Tuesday morning easier when you wake up and nothing has changed and the prayer still feels like it's going to the ceiling. I'm not here to give you a slogan. I'm here to tell you what I've actually seen. What I've seen is this. The things that came after the long waits in my life were things I was not ready to or for before them. The pastoral call I resisted for 3 years. I needed those 3 years, not to be convinced, to be prepared, to develop something in my character that wasn't there yet. I can see exactly what that was now. I couldn't have named it then. The 40 years of business attempts that didn't work, every one of them taught me something about discernment, about hype versus substance, about what real work actually looks like. By the time something real came along, I could recognize it. I couldn't have recognized it 40 years earlier. The quiet season in the recliner that felt like being shelled, that season stripped away some things that needed to go. Some pride, some noise, some busyness that was filling space where something better needed to grow. The waiting was doing something every time. And here's the hard part, the part nobody says out loud. Some of what the waiting season builds, you can only receive in the waiting. It can't be downloaded quickly. It can't be accelerated by effort. Patience, real patience, doesn't grow in easy seasons. It only grows when you don't have a choice but to wait. Humility doesn't grow when everything's growing your way. It grows in the quiet, uncertain, unresolved seasons where you have nothing to show for your effort and you keep showing up anyway. Trust doesn't get built in the answered prayers. It gets built in the unanswered ones, where you keep trusting anyway, even when you can't see why. The waiting is the classroom for the things that can't be taught any other way. I want to say something carefully here because I don't want it to sound like a bumper sticker. God doesn't waste seasons. Not the hard ones, not the long ones, not the ones that feel pointless from the inside. I watched him take things that looked like pure loss, failed businesses, broken relationships, seasons of silence, and use every single piece of it for something I couldn't have planned. He's not confused by your waiting season. He's not behind schedule. He's not wringing his hands wondering what to do next. He's building something and he knows exactly what he's doing. That doesn't mean the waiting is easy. It wasn't easy for me. Probably won't be easy for you, but it isn't empty. If you're in a waiting season right now, if you woke up this morning in the middle of something unresolved, I just want to say this. You're not stuck. You're not forgotten. You're not behind. You're being built. And the one doing the building knows what he's doing, even when you can't see it from where you're standing. Leave me a comment and tell me, what are you waiting on right now? You don't have to give details. Just tell me you're in it, because I want you to know someone sees it. And if you want a place where that conversation can keep going, not a sales pitch, just a quieter room, my community is called The Next Step. The link is in the description. Thanks for being here today. This one mattered to me to say, and I'll see you in the next one.